Welcome back to KSDB Radio Playhouse. It's time now for the second part of our program, titled The Last Broadcast.
Humans have used tools since ancient times. Tools can be used for good, and they can also be used for evil. Radio is a tool that has been used extensively all over the world for both good and bad. Governments have owned and operated radio stations and used them for mysterious purposes. And clandestine activity has always flourished on the airwaves. We find ourselves in a very mysterious place, in a dark forest of a very oppressed country. This is the tragic tale of The Last Broadcast.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's 7:30 in the morning, and you're tuned in to Radio 1570 on your radio dial. We've got a beautiful morning, sunny and warm. It's gonna be a wonderful day.
Good morning. The time is 8:02. Several incidents of demonstrations were put to an end downtown today. Great Leader Axwell has deemed these actions inappropriate and offensive to the state. Demonstrators are now in custody undergoing corrective treatment.
Two students are in custody today after failing to obey the state mandate reciting the Pledge of Diversity before lessons. Auckland School Principal Charles Dirkwell said the children will be punished according to district guidelines and will be relocated if non-compliant action continues.
Until further notice, power will be shut off every night at midnight. It is now illegal to operate electrical devices after midnight. Ownership and/or use of personal generators or any other power-generating equipment is now punishable by death, according to rules of the All-High General Council.
Dissent will not be tolerated. We are watching. We know what you are doing. We know what you are thinking. Do not waste your time resisting. We will find you. We are coming for you.
All for one and one for all. We are one. One are we. Come together and celebrate. Love, peace, family. Work more, harder, better.
The middle of winter, in a dark country in the northern latitudes. A mile off the highway, surrounded by trees and barbed wire, sits an old, crumbling building. Maybe it used to be a hospital. Perhaps it was a government building. Who's to say? You'd think it was abandoned, if not for the glaring red antenna lights towering high above the trees. With a nest of wires strung overhead, two rifle-wielding guards stand out front, accompanied by a solid steel door. No one is getting in unless they belong, and absolutely nothing is getting out.
Good evening, Daisy. How's the boyfriend?
I dumped him months ago. He couldn't handle the pressure, but you knew that.
Pressure?
The pressure of the world, I guess.
The world. It's getting worse each day, and the news won't tell the public anything. Is there any new information from in there?
You know I can't talk about what goes on inside the station. You do this every night.
Just hoping you'll slip up one day.
Well, this has been another daily dose of ignorance. I have to get to work. Four, 2, 3, 9, 5. 1 7 1 3 7 7 8 7 4 2.
Strings of numbers, connecting a world that most are ignorant of. Government operatives in the field, listening at certain times of day for their orders, which come in a random string of numbers for them to decode. They use something called a one-time pad, an unbreakable code system that can be used anywhere. Elsewhere, deep underground, more are listening for a very different noise, one that will alert them of the worst possible scenario, a bone-chilling set of audio tones that, when combined with a specific set of numbers, would mean the end of civilization. Even the employees of the station are blissfully unaware of these implications and what true power
3
it holds.
2 6 8 2 9 1.
Come in, Command. The latest transmission has located the target. We are en route now, over.
Roger, Echo. High-value target and extremely dangerous anti-government leader. Proceed with caution, over.
Roger, Command. There seems to be a celebration going on. Many civilians in the kill zone. Permissions to proceed, over.
You have the green light, Echo, over.
Roger, Command. Breaching the building now, over. Target eliminated. Few civilian casualties. Over.
Great work, Echo. Target down. Reporting a confirmed kill, over.
High-ranking resistance leader George McMahon died this weekend when a gunman opened fire at his niece's wedding. Several others received minor injuries. Government officials are speculating that the gunman was an anti-war activist and had no ties to government groups. General Axwell condemned the attack, calling it a flagrant disregard for life, and will be speaking to the family of the deceased. In other news around the country,
With all the success in the government's use of the number station and cover-up, all seems lost for the resistance. That is until we meet Harold, the radio station technician who does not look like he will believe the lies of President Axwell.
Harold! I thought I told you not to put these receivers on the top shelf. You're gonna give me a concussion.
Chill out, Edgar. Just because you're 5'3" doesn't mean I have to accommodate you. Besides, we don't have room for these receivers on the ground. There are too many useless things in here anyway. For some reason, we have 2 copiers and 1 fax machine, and I've yet to see anyone send a fax. Or see anyone, period. So shut up and go find someone else to conform.
Harold, I swear, if the superiors knew how you talked to me, you'd never work a government job again.
Your superiors are a bunch of mysterious no-names anyway. Do you even know who your superior is?
He goes by Cerberus, and we've sent messages back and forth.
That's not sketchy at all. Nope. Just working in a secret bunker in the middle of the mountains for a faceless, shadowy government. Totally cool. No biggie.
You understand that comment is borderline treason, right? I recommend you get rid of those stupid ideologies and get back to work, Harold.
I'd die before I became their puppet, Edgar. But it's too late for you.
Station workers are always separated. Only Edgar has access to most of the station, and the other employees go all day without seeing another soul. Sometimes, however, Daisy catches a glimpse through the single window
6,
in her studio
5,
of someone
4,
running back and forth through the control room.
3 4 5 1 1.
How you doing in here, Daisy?
Evening, Edgar. I've been hearing strange noises in my headphones all night, almost like someone is trying to interfere with our signal. I don't know a lot about it, but would it have something to do with that resistance you were talking about? Do they have a radio station now or something?
We're not going to talk about that. But this is very disconcerting news. Keep monitoring the situation, write down everything, and stay alert.
Yes, sir. Wait, before you go, are there other people who work at the station? I mean, besides you and me?
Daisy, I've told you before. No one else is here and no one ever will be. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Daisy, I haven't told you this, but I'm ex-military. I've worked for the government my entire life, so trust me, our nation is a strong example to all others. We help those in need through our might. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing strange or mysterious about this place. This is our duty, our privilege. We're doing the field agents a favor. We're keeping them and our country safe from bad people. Do you understand why this station is absolutely vital?
Of course, Edgar. I love this country. I'm sorry I was suspicious. I'll just get back to my work now.
8, 2, 1. 8, 2, 1. 8, 2, 1. 8, 2, 1. 7, 0, 4.
Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. It was almost spring now, with the last melting snow on the ground, and like the seasons, the numbers just kept coming. Daisy became more and more paranoid, always catching glimpses of something or someone through the tiny window in Studio A, until one day, the man in the control room came to her.
5, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 2, 6, 8.
He stood behind
2,
her, one finger
9,
to his lips,
1,
waiting for her
3,
to finish.
1, 8, 2, 4. Who are you?
I'm Harold, the engineer. I've watched you for months now, waiting for you to show some sign that we can trust you. I'm part of the Resistance, and we have a very important task for you, Daisy Smith.
The Resistance? You're dangerous! Help me!
Shut your mouth before you get us both killed!
Killed? What if I don't want to be part of your Resistance? In fact...
Listen! Don't you think it's weird that you've worked at the station for 5 years and you've only seen Edgar? There are 10 stories below us, Daisy. It's taken me a long time, but I finally cracked it, and you're the last piece. There are hundreds of workers here, yet no one knows anyone else. And do you know what the numbers you repeat even mean?
I don't know if you actually work here. How can I believe anything you say? I noticed you in the control room 3 months ago. I thought I was imagining things, but one night, after a particularly busy shift and a fight with Edgar, I woke to the sound of footsteps in my apartment. I sat in bed, paralyzed, until I heard the front door shut and a car engine rev. They didn't take anything aside from my notes from work that day.
They don't want you to know, Daisy.
Know what?
The truth. Those strings of numbers are locations of possible Resistance strongholds. We have a plan, Daisy, to take back our government from these oppressive schmucks who have nothing better to do than pollute the environment, kill innocent people, and start wars. This is an evil place, Daisy. We have to put an end to these broadcasts and this station, and that's only the start. Once this place is gone, the agents won't have a reliable form of communication to take out the Resistance. That's our chance to start our war against them on the ground.
This is treason, Harold. You know what happens if we fail, right? We die.
Where have you been for the past decade? The world outside this station is already dead, Daisy. We die either way.
The government has provided me with a good life and abundance. What did they do to you to make you so dissatisfied?
During the first uprising, my father fought in the military. After months of stalemate, the military needed the Resistance to make the first move, so they could justify the war to the people. Long story short, Dad was caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. They framed him as a Resistance leader, publicly executed him, and murdered 3,000 other innocent people at the Battle of High Water, including their own militia. At this point, it's not even about my father. It's about the hundreds of thousands of people who will die before this is over.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize.
Don't apologize. Do something about it. I've acquired some explosive which I've planted inside the transmitter racks. A detonation timer can be activated by pressing the right combination of buttons on the cart decks in exactly the right order. It will destroy the transmitters, equipment, and antennas. Now all you have to do...
Hold on. Quick, I think Edgar is coming. Hide under my desk.
Hi there, Daisy. How are things in here? There's another set of numbers awaiting your beautiful voice, so go ahead and get started.
Everything's fine. I'll start right away. See you later.
I'll leave you to it then.
Harold, you'll have to tell me the rest later. This isn't a safe place to talk. Slip me a note before you leave, telling me what to do. When will all this happen?
Tomorrow night, 2300 hours.
Fine, you better get out of here. I've got numbers to read. Three, 4, 5, 1, 1, 7, 4, 9, 2, 5.
Come in, Foxtrot. Have you received the location? Over.
Roger, Echo. Possible dissidents at known resistance rendezvous point. Over.
Roger that. Civilians at location. Need confirmation. Over.
We are clear for strike. Light 'em up.
23 civilians, mostly women and children, were killed today outside of an abandoned school that resistance fighters were using as a temporary base. Great leader Axwell applauded the strike, calling it a necessary sacrifice for justice, and will continue his campaign tour today.
Oh my gosh. Did I do that? Did I kill those children?
The time had come for change. When Daisy arrived home after the conversation with Harold and the news of the airstrike, she laid awake all night, contemplating the plot she was about to carry out. She didn't even know what she was supposed to do. Why hadn't she asked? Why had she trusted this man she barely even saw through a window? How many more innocent people died by her numbers? After internally debating all night long, Daisy arrived at the entrance of the long trail to the station, a changed woman. Daisy neared the two guards at the solid metal door, and fear began to set in.
Daisy, you're not allowed here right now.
Oh, well, I've forgotten my wallet inside the studio. Silly me.
The station's on lockdown, miss. No one's getting in or out.
Oh no, I need to buy a birthday present for my poor, sick grandmother. Now I drove all the way up here, and I don't have money for gas to get back home. Please, may I go inside very quickly?
Earl, we should just let her in. Maybe she'll give me her phone number.
Shut it, Frank. You're an idiot. She can only go in if she gives us both her number. Okay, you got 10 minutes, Daisy.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll be back in a jiffy.
As Daisy entered the station, all of the red studio on-air lights flashed simultaneously. There was a burnt, metallic smell in the air, and as Daisy walked further into the depths of the building, it became apparent that this was not the same station she had worked for 5 years. The fluorescent bulbs flickered, and the hospital-like linoleum was soaking wet, as if the sprinkler system had gone off. She passed Edgar's office. She saw him slumped over his desk, bleeding from his ear. He was dead, and Daisy knew he wasn't the only dead employee in the station now.
What's going on? Harold!
Daisy! Do what they tell you, please!
Two black-robed figures stood in front of the studio equipment, one with a knife to Harold's throat, and one beckoning Daisy over. In between them sat a blood-colored vinyl record with an X written in permanent marker in the middle.
Miss Daisy Smith, what a pleasure to finally meet you. I see you're eyeing my record. It has a very important purpose, because today is the dawning of a new age, a paradigm shift, a cataclysm. And lucky you've got a front row seat.
You've been played, Daisy. From the beginning, you were convinced that you were on the good side. Don't you see? There aren't any good sides. We're all just fighting this endless tribal battle. Well, tonight, the battle ends.
This is the last broadcast, the doomsday record, so to speak. Every nuclear code in the fatherland can be activated through the tones in this record. All we need is an authorized voice to read the numbers. Oh, you are lucky, Daisy Smith. Go ahead, sit down at the microphone now.
No, I won't do it.
Do it now or I'll cut your friend's throat.
Daisy, don't do it!
Oh, come. You're on the leading edge of history. Think how you'll be remembered in the history books. The woman who saved our nation. This is your shift now. I'll let you do the honors. Time to flip the kill switch and get this started.
No, there won't be any history books if this goes through.
Now that's quite enough. Get started.
Oh, I can't wait. Cerberus will be so pleased. He must be headed down to the bunker as we speak. Now, Daisy, get ready to read those numbers. Slowly.
Wait, that can't be. Your boss is Cerberus? We've been working underneath him this entire time.
Shut up, girl. He's the only true source of power for our world. You may know him by another name. Great Leader Axwell, and we must obey him.
So that's it? You'll destroy the world just because he says so? You're just a follower. A pawn. He'll never care about you. Axwell would rather watch you go up in flames than die himself.
Silence or your comrade dies! Ah! Read the numbers now.
Daisy, please, no! No.
3, 4, 7, 5, 3.
Keep going.
6.
Harold, get your hand away from those buttons. What are you doing?
I'm not going to let you get away with this!
It's too late. She's almost done.
8.
Although I do find your futile efforts amusing. You think flipping a few switches on the cart decks is going to save you? You trying to record this or something, boy?
Ah! Daisy! I'm sorry it had to be like this. It was supposed to be different!
I'm sure it was.
The people, places, and events in this story are fictitious. Any similarities to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Number stations, however, are real. They are not a thing of the past. In fact, there are probably several broadcasting on the shortwave bands right now. While their exact purpose is unknown, they are usually run by governments. These stations are believed to transmit instructions to operatives all over the world. Unlike the internet, shortwave radio spans the globe and can receive on a small, inexpensive radio. It is impossible to tell who intercepts these messages, which are transmitted via numbers, digital codes, or Morse code. Stations exist all over the world: Russia, China, North Korea, Egypt, and even the U.S. This station you are hearing right now broadcasts daily out of Cuba and was recorded right here in Manhattan, Kansas.
That was the last broadcast. Thank you for tuning in to 91.9 FM for this production of KSDB Radio Playhouse. Special thanks to Blue Stem Bistro for hosting a listening party tonight. Extra Solar Squad was written by Ben Trickey and Bridget Riley. Actors include Jasmine Mitchell, Zach St. Clair, Bridget Riley, Nate Kokite, Kaylee Meacham, and Ben Trickey. The last broadcast was written by Callie Ogborn with help from James Copeland. Actors include Michael Duncan, Brett Broadbent, Emma Perot, Geneva Fink, Rebecca Zwink, and Evan Penner. Sound effects were made by David Doherty, Evan Penner, Holden Brown, and James Copeland. Tonight's productions were directed by me, Brendan Flanagan. And stay tuned for more from KSDB Radio Playhouse during the Christmas season. Thank you for listening to 91.9 KSDB, and stay tuned.